What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 5 of the Mental Side of Wrestling. Last week, I said I was going to do something a little bit different today. As you can see, I'm recording on the road. So, as usual, my name is Class. I am an independent professional wrestler, clinical psychologist, and one half of the greatest tag team in the history of the world, the Pretty City Express. Now, you've heard me say that intro multiple times. And now, my gift to you is you get to see the other half of the greatest tag team in the history of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Devin Reno. Oh
no.
Here we go.
Hot start.
There we go. Devin, what's up?
Oh, living the life of the Pretty City Express.
Yep, and the Express is a little bumpy, but we're going to get there.
We're in a giant express truck today.
Oh, yeah, we're cooking. Hopefully that works. I'll keep an eye on it. Oh! might have to be some editing in this.
Snap.
Oh no.
Take a bump,
phone. Come on.
Maybe we can use mine to prop it up.
Stay.
There we
We'll
go.
see. All right. Welcome to the Mental Side of Wrestling.
Very fitting for my introduction, by the way. Very fitting for introducing Devin to this nice polished channel.
Yeah.
With a bunch of credibility and expertise.
We're just going to do this.
And advice.
Yeah.
It's like, here's Devin, and everything goes off the rails.
That's our dynamic, though. That's how we do it. That's how the Pretty City does it. That's why we work so well together.
That's right.
Fire and ice.
Makes warm water, baby.
Warm water, baby. Okay, so this is episode 5. I appreciate you guys for hanging out and watching. If you haven't watched the other 4, please go back and do so. They're hopefully pretty interesting, pretty helpful.
Absolutely.
But this one today, what the topic I wanted to discuss, and especially with you, and I'll explain why, but today is the importance of committing 100%, the full send. Why is this important? What are the payoffs of it? Why do people struggle with that? And we're going to talk about why in wrestling this is important, and then why in your real life. And we'll try to do what I've been doing and kind of flipping it back and forth. So hopefully at the end of it, if you're a wrestler or not, there's going to be some things in here that are helpful to you. So a couple reasons that I wanted you to come on for this one especially is I've talked about you a lot. People hopefully know that we're the greatest tag team in the history of the world.
Greatest.
And so it's time for us to be together and do an episode. But also, you've been someone who, from day one, I was impressed with about how committed you are and how hard you work and how much you want this. That being getting signed to WWE and professional wrestling and getting better every week. And so I guess the first thing I'll ask is, when did you develop that mindset, and what is that mindset like to you? Like, when did you figure out committing 100% is important, and what was that like?
I first of all, thank you. Second, I don't know if I developed it or I was born with it and then it just evolved over time. So, because I've talked about this before, like other places and with you, when I was a kid, I was told I was so competitive to the point where, like, every year from kindergarten, so I think we left that at my elementary in 6th grade, the teachers brought in my parents for a separate parent-teacher conference, like separate. My mom and my dad, they were separated, and they brought them both in for one that was just me, and it was like, this kid was way too competitive. We got to do something about that. And so it was definitely always there, and I don't know if it's a genetic component, but the thing is, over time, through a lot of failing and a lot of mentorship, I learned how to focus it into being a commitment and not more of a, like, competitive, I have to win at everything. Now, it's a much more focused, okay, what do I actually want to win at? And then how do I win, but really just commit and do my best in those areas? So I think it's always been there genetically. It's just finding a way to, like, zero it in and focus in a lot more. That's really helped and really come out since I joined the school, really.
For sure.
I think because I was kind of lost before that, but gave me direction again. And once I got a goal, then it's like, oh, now I'm working towards something. So when the goal is wrestling, which I've wanted to do since I was a kid, it's always like, okay, that's simple. The goal is to get signed to WWE. So, or any major promotion, but I want to make money wrestling. So if that's the goal, then whatever I have to do it, that's just what I'm going to do. Because I want that more than I hate all of the other things. It could be anything. Like, I want that more. And if you don't, then you're lying to yourself, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's like, I just think it's easier once you figure out that, okay, once I just make my mind up that I'm going to do something, then all your decisions funnel into that and towards that. But if there's any second guessing, then it becomes like, oh, maybe I'll start tomorrow, or maybe I don't know if I can do it. And like that voice that I've talked about on here a lot, that voice in your head creeps in and starts letting you doubt yourself. But if it's like, no, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it until I literally can't, or it doesn't work, and I have to come to the terms with that, then I'm going to just do everything I can to get there. And so I think it's important in wrestling to commit 100% for a lot of reasons, but the biggest one to me is it's so hard. Like, there's so much that goes into it. And I've mentioned before that Devin and I have been traveling almost every weekend for the past year about. It's been very few weekends off in the past year, and just getting in on the early side of that and seeing how much work goes into that, and continuing to hit the gym, continuing to have your diet locked in, continuing to train, continuing to make sure your gear's updated and everything's getting better. On top of having a day job, it's so much. And so, like, yes, it's a lot, but this is, and I'm sure you feel the same way, the past year is definitely where I've seen the most growth in myself as a wrestler. And so it's been really rewarding to see how much the, committing and getting an opportunity and committing even harder has paid off. So, my first wrestling coach in junior high, he made this comparison or analogy, I guess, that always stuck with me, but it's wrestling is like a bank. Like, if you want to grow your bank account, you have to deposit. And like, the currency is work. So if you just work and try but put in effort, then the amount of effort you put into each training session, that's how big your deposit is. And so if you want this big bank account and you want this to develop this skill of wrestling and be good at it, which is equivalent to a big bank account in this, then you have to work. And the harder you work, the bigger the deposits and the more it pays off and the more it reflects. So once that was kind of explained to me that way, I didn't quite understand it when I was 12, but it must have hit, because I still think about that to this day. And that just makes it like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And sure, especially with something as, opinion-based as pro wrestling is, there is some luck involved and just bias and all of that. But as soon as an ounce of luck is involved and people go, well, I'm never going to make it then. Yeah.
So then you give up on everything? It's like, no, you're supposed to deposit and deposit and deposit. So that way, if you get a lottery ticket and hit, it makes it all better. Like, you already have the habits of good spending and good building and all of that. So if you get the lottery ticket, you don't waste it. Yeah. You know, I know what to do with this money. Look what I've been doing with all the little bits that I've had. Like, I'm not going to get that opportunity or that lottery ticket and then think, oh man, what do I do with all this? It's like, no. I know what I'm going to do, what I've been doing, just on a bigger scale. Yep. So I think that's like the best way to look at it. And that's always helped me, is like when I really doubt it, or like, what is this workout going to do for me? Or, oh my God, I'm so tired. Do I really want to go? Or this morning, waking up after 4 hours of sleep, and it's like, oh man, I want to go back to bed. And he goes, you know what? My bank account, my wrestling bank account, gotta keep going, So.
Yeah. And it goes back to that idea of like, we both have the same mindset for what we want. So, oh fuck, like this sucks getting up at 5 a.m. after 4 hours of sleep, but there's no other option. We're not even giving ourselves the choice to do something different, to like sleep in and skip the gym. This is what we're doing because we know we need to, in order to stick out, in order to get better. And so then it's easy.
Yep.
You just program your mind to go, I'm doing this, and then you do it. And you don't leave space for that negative voice to get in there and try to talk you out of it. So, no, I love your experience with it. And I think there's, with like developing that mindset, and I'm sure there's going to be a range of like, if people have figured that out or when they figured it out, like, for me, I really figured it out through my journey in school.
Sure.
Because I was an athlete my entire life. Like, I played 4 or more sports all through high school, and I played baseball in college. But what really like made it click for me was when I first started college, I was like, I'm going to be a psychologist. And I did research to know what I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, what was going to work best for me is getting to the top of that field and getting my doctorate degree. Cool, that's what I'm going to do. And every decision was then guided towards that ultimate goal. And it helped me figure out, oh, I just program my mind. Everything is easier. So I'm going to make all my decisions in pursuit of that. Because what the issue was always for me in sports was like, I loved competing. I loved all the games, all the matches. I did not like practicing. I was like, what do we do? Can we just play more games?
Yeah.
And so like my mindset wasn't right. And I had to figure that out on my own. But school, weirdly enough, helped me really figure that out. So whatever your like avenue is for figuring that out, maybe it's listening to this. Maybe this like is a seed that's planting and that helps you figure something out. But it's never too late to figure that out. And I think that, you know, some people are lucky and they have it from a young age. Some people have great role models that are around, and some people just need to find it, and that's okay. Whatever avenue you do it, that's okay. What do you think is like? What are some big barriers in order that prevent people from doing the full send, from committing?
I think there's a couple. There's barriers of entry, which means like they're not even gonna try.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I kind of didn't have wrestling in my life from like 18 to 21, and I was like the most lost I'd ever been, I realized I fell into this trap. And like looking back in hindsight, it was I made excuses for other people's success. So like a lot of the things that I found inspirational in high school, like the Rock story, right? $7 in his pocket, blah, 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 and it's become a meme now, and I get that. But I was in high school, and I had the mindset of, I want to wrestle, I want to be at the top, I want to do this, I want to work hard. That was inspirational to me. And then I remember specifically reading like a Reddit comment talking about the Rock's history, or a post, and the top comment was like, well, yeah, it's easy to bounce back when you're 6'5" and you have great genetics and connections. And I'm like, yeah, he did have all that. Like, that's kind of BS, you know? And then now I'm like, well, look at how many people are 6'5" and have great connections and have great bodies, and they're not doing anything. So there is a certain amount of work at any level. Are people more blessed than others? Absolutely, but you have no control over that.
Yeah.
So for me to just go, yeah, that's true, like, he got lucky. Oh my God, I want to punch my own self in the face, because I'm just limiting myself. It's a barrier of entry. I'm not even going to try because I've convinced myself, yeah, he had it easy. Like, no, that's so crazy to think about. Is he probably going to have a better career because he had those? Maybe. I don't know.
But maybe not.
Maybe not. Like, what's the point of writing yourself off before it even happens? So I think that's a big one. And then afterwards, once they get into it, and we see this all the time in wrestling, it was like, yeah, I'm ready to work hard, I'm ready to go to the gym, I'm ready to train in the school and all this stuff, and then they go, wait, I have to drive how long?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, man, you gotta drive 6 hours for one show. Okay. And my match is 6 minutes long? Yep. And I didn't get paid? Yep. And I have to pay for gas, and I have to stay up, and yep. It's like, oh, they don't think about that.
Yep.
And so that becomes like well, this is stupid. Like, I know my worth. I know. It's like, okay, man, like, whatever. Like, that's another barrier. It's not accounting for everything it entails. And when you come up to something that you didn't know it was going to entail, you get frustrated with it and not, oh, okay, I didn't expect this. How do I get good at this?
Yeah.
So, like, we've even talked about, like, the travel on this scale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, I should probably find a travel credit card. I should probably look into what rewards programs will help and make it easier on us and all this stuff. Because like, we know people who book travel the day of, and I'm like, how are you doing that? Like, I don't know. Like, it's stressful. I go, yeah, and it's making you not as good of a wrestler, because then travel becomes intimidating to you, and then you don't take advantage of opportunities because you've not created a system that's easier.
Yeah.
So like as soon as we started doing this, I was like, oh, I listened to top guys in the WWE. They all have Marriott points or Hilton rewards, and they all talk about it. And I go, okay, if they're doing that, there's probably something to it and the efficiency to it. So I should probably start looking into what that entails and how I can get involved and how I can start making travel easier. Because now our travel's logistically super easy.
Yeah,
we know where we're going. We know we just got to find the name on the board and go grab the car. Like, we've got it down to a system where now we can even digital check into some hotels. So we don't even, like, it's just, how can we make this as efficient as possible so we can just focus more time on getting our meals in, relaxing, going to the gym, getting there to the show, having conversations. And so that way, the day of the show, you only have to worry about day of show problems, not travel problems on top of this, on top of that. There's going to be problems regardless. So the most you can do to prepare yourself for anything, the better off you are. So I think that's a couple barriers too. Like, people don't want to think of these things as part of being a good wrestler.
Yeah.
They just go, well, that's annoying.
It's like they want to skip to the fun part.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it's like, I think what you're saying in a nutshell is do the work on the front end to know what you're getting yourself into, and that's going to set you up better for success. And then take the necessary steps to like make it easier on yourself. And yeah, you're right. That's such a huge one, because we see that all the time where kids come on the road and maybe a couple times and then boop, they're gone.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, I didn't know it was like this. So that's certainly one. And I think the first one you said, the barrier to entry, I think that taps into kind of a theme throughout this series that I've done here, is like fear of failure and the little voice in your head trying to talk you out of it, like unhelpful thoughts.
Yep.
I think those are so big, and that's what I've talked about, I think, a little bit in every episode, is if you can learn how to master that voice and challenge it with evidence to the contrary, because there always is, and then also just not be afraid of failure, that's going to be something that's so helpful. Again, whether it's wrestling, whether it's a job interview, whether it's asking a girl out, going on a date, anything, that thing is going to like serve you well forever, and it's going to change the way you think. And then you have control over all situations. And so the other part of that, like I said, was just not being afraid of failure. One of my favorite things to work on with people in my practice, and when I'm like mentoring them, whether it's in wrestling or elsewhere, is if they come to me and they're like, man, I just don't know what I want to do. I don't know. I just feel stuck. And it's like, cool. And they might tell me that they're really afraid of, like, you know, what's going to happen if they fail trying this or fail trying that. I'm like, you should be afraid of that, but you should be more afraid of staying where you're at and not doing anything.
Yeah.
And so I think a big part of like getting over that fear of failure is knowing that if you commit 100% to anything, there's going to be a net gain there. Even if you don't achieve your goal, you're going to have worked towards something. So it's kind of like this idea of, I'm going to set this target 100 yards out there and I'm going to walk towards it. And I think that's where I want to go. But then you get there, maybe the wind blew that target a little bit to the left. Okay, I'm not at my target, but I'm a heck of a lot further than I was when I started. And I can do something with that.
Shoot for the moon, and even if you fail, you fall among the stars.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's it.
That's it.
Why not?
Yep. So yeah, I think those are definitely some common ones, I would assume. Now, this is something that we've joked about or laughed about a few times. The full send as it applies to us, because we're in a tag team, and how we have to like make sure and keep track of the other person, or like make our decisions knowing that they affect the other person.
Yeah.
I think that one's that's fun to think about too, because like with like, here's an example of how we have to think about that is when we're going on a vacation. Just like a non-wrestling vacation, we want to spend time with our family, our girlfriends, whatever. It's like we kind of coordinate that to make sure we're not going to skip out on a booking because of that. So that's a fun little back and forth that we have with the tag team.
Yeah. That, and then just going, like, when it first started, Class was way more, like, he's been in the business longer than me. He was at prominent roles and positions. I was newer. And so it was, oh, they're going to put this guy with me, and I look up to him, and I don't want to hold him back. So I have to put in the work to at least try to start getting to that level, because if we're going to be in a tag team, we're only as good as our weakest link.
Yeah.
You know, like if there's one person holding the team back, then it's kind of like, oh man, we really want to book you, but you got to get better.
Yeah.
And if he's working hard and he's doing it, and I'm kind of slacking off, like, oh yeah, cool, I'm with class now. It's like, that's not gonna work, you know?
Yep. No, yeah, that's a fun one that we talk about a lot. But what are, from your perspective, what are some like tips or tricks that people could do to help them get to that full send?
I think like making it as simple as possible is what helps me. So like I said earlier, like it used to be like, I want to make 12-year-old Devin proud. That's it. And so now that has kind of evolved into, what do I really want? I want to be at the top of the wrestling world. Okay. Then whatever I have to do to get there, within ethical reason, right? Like I still have values and morals, and I'm not trying to undercut anybody, but with anything in my control that I can do to get there, I'm going to do.
Yep.
So it makes all those, oh, we have to take a 5 a.m. flight to make this, and okay, then we'll do that.
Yep.
Or at Tennessee, when we had to fly to Tennessee, fly to Arizona, then fly to Denver, you know, and
Without
then fly
leaving the
back.
airports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we were all airports. It was like, okay, like neither one of us, we just kind of went, damn, that'll suck. It wasn't like a, do we have to? It was, but that's going to suck.
Yeah. It
And
was,
just embracing that.
Yeah.
It was just like, that's going to be a terrible weekend.
Yep.
There was never a, what do you think? It was, yeah, all right, rough weekend ahead.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have to think about it. It was just, okay. So I think just making it as simple as possible so you can become like autonomous towards that goal. And I overthink. So the less I can think, the better. Like the less decisions I
Yeah.
can take out of my life, the better off I am.
For sure.
So if I can make it as black and white as possible of, okay, this will make me better, or this will get me signed one day, then that's what I do. It's just that. And I always say, you know, one day they'll be worth it.
Yep.
And when we're traveling every week under a company's umbrella on a company's dime, making connections on the millions, you know, instead of like these days are going to pay off. Like
Yeah.
that's something that I think about all the time. And it's just, yeah, this is what we have to do to get there. It's
Yeah.
as black and white and as simple as possible.
Yep, that's perfect. So like, yeah, keep it simple. I think that's always a good lesson in everything. And I think one other, this is similar, but the way I look at things is, okay, we're very vocal and very aware that we both wanted to end up in WWE
Yeah.
and get signed and make that a career. Cool. If that's the only thing that I'm thinking about, then I'm going to drive myself crazy that I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And so have your big overall goal, know what that is, well, define it well, and then put it away and create a pathway for yourself there.
Yeah.
Again, this goes back to setting the target and moving towards it. Because if you can accomplish, okay, in the next 3 months, I want to get stronger in the gym, and I want to make sure I eat my meals, and I want to make sure I hit training twice a week or whatever. Those are things that you can measure and that you know are going to help you in that. Cool, I accomplished that. How can I increase that next? And so it's the idea of set your overall goal and then set a bunch of little day-to-day, week-to-week baby goals that are going to help you achieve that. SMART goals. If you've never heard of SMART goals,
Oh, yeah.
look up SMART goals.
Phenomenal.
So helpful in setting goals. So friggin' lights. But yeah, I think we went a little longer than I intended.
It's all right.
Hopefully this was interesting. That's all right. Devin, any final thoughts about the full send?
Nah, just do it, guys.
Just send
Just
it.
You're gonna be way happier at the end of your life if you just try. Even
Yeah.
if you fail,
Yeah.
then you don't gotta wonder what if.
Yep. So real quick on that, I remember exactly where I was when I decided I was going to pursue professional wrestling. And I remember having that exact thought of, if I turned 40 or 50 and never tried, I'm going to hate myself.
Yeah.
So why not give it everything I've got? And if I make it, which I believe full-heartedly I will, and that we will, then it's going to be so worth it. And if I don't, then I'm not going to look back and be resentful towards myself like, well, if you would have worked a little bit harder, you might, you know, I don't want that. That's just negative, and I have no desire to have that in my mind. It's either I worked my ass off and I got there, or I worked my ass off and it didn't work out, but I did everything I could within my power. So, guys, hopefully this was helpful. Again, leave any comments or any questions. I'm happy to answer those. If you want us or me to elaborate on any of the topics, please leave that in the comments. And if you don't already, Devin Reno has an awesome YouTube channel with tons and tons of great content. Please go check it out. Give it a follow. It's excellent. We're on there a little bit, and then he's got tons of awesome stuff too. Obviously, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. But Devin, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you. It's a little more erratic than this polished content, just a heads up.
Yeah, polished after the phone was up and down for the first 4 minutes.
Which is why I'm warning everyone.
Hey, it's a road episode.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen. All right, bye, guys.
See ya.